The World Ends with Witches, written by Ayahachitwister. Chapter 1, Partners. I made a mistake. I should never have come out here. A black cat dashed along the brush of a deep, murky forest, searching for somewhere, anywhere to hide. While the cover of darkness drowned out her tiny form, it did little to help her escape the growls dogging after her through the moonless night. Her round ears angled back, pick up on the rustle of bramble bushes. They closed in far faster than she anticipated. Letting out a hiss, she leapt for a tree, burying her claws into its thick bark as she propelled herself up. The bell around her neck jingled with her movements, a grave misstep. As the sound lured her pursuers straight into view, it wasn't long until the savage talons of a large raven tore through the branches above her, scattering a shadow of red and orange leaves down from where they'd been hanging. Another raven perched on a different branch, watching her as if challenging her to come up. No in my way, I'm gonna die here. Not like this. If it's a fight they want... She readied her claws. In one swift motion, she shot up to swipe at the creature before it could latch out at her first. It let out a pained screech, taking to the air again. As it circled around her face, its glowing blue maw brimmed with murderous intent. The cat arched her back with her fur standing on end, hoping that maybe she could scare it away. The raven snapped its beak, then with a flurry of claws flew higher into the air. It retreated alongside its brethren. And once they were gone, the cat took a much-needed moment to breathe. Crisis averted. Right? No, she thought. And her head bulged up as she sensed a new, far more terrifying presence. I'm not out of the woods yet. Despite realizing that she couldn't see anything, her ears twisted back and forth, listening for them the faintest traces of an impending danger. Twigs snapping, winds beating. Below me! She sprung from one tree to another just before a shark, of all things, emerged from the tangle of roots covering the ground. It managed to fling itself high enough to bite down and split the branch she'd just been on clean in half. She stared back in horror, taking its frightful appearance. Though it possessed a solid body, blue fins, and a spiky, light saw-like nose decorated like a twisted, disconnected painting. That's when it hit her. Like the ravens before it, was a noise, one of those monsters that roam outside the barrier that kept her cozy little town safe, and as it drove back beneath the rippling forest floor, she lost sight of it once again. She should have known better. The stray cats had warned her about the noise. She could sense it in their fear, and how they lost fellow cats who strayed too far to catch a bird. And now she fully understood that fear. For each slam the fiend made against a tree, it grew more and more inside her. Wrecked with trembles, she clamped her eyes shut, bracing herself for the instant that the beast would catch her in those deadly jaws. Please save me, brother. Go, Mr. Mew! Sorry if I hurt your ears. A dark blur barreled into the shark, striking just below its rows of razor-sharp teeth. The balled-up feline dared to peek out, only to be met with a scene that defied an explanation. Another black cat had came to her rescue, except this cat wasn't alive like her. In fact, it didn't even look like a normal cat. It held itself up on two stubby paws, and its fierce yet protective expression, if one could even call it that, had been stitched together by thin white threads. No fur or fangs in sight. Her strange savior refused to yield, even after the shark knocked it back. It took no time in recovering, reeling another a barrage of kicks. The noise crashed against a tree, sending another violent shake through it. And this time, the young cat found her claws failing to keep her steady. She plummeted backwards, powerless to do anything but flip herself over as she went hurtling down towards a painful end. Except the end didn't come. Instead of breaking upon the earth, a pair of warm arms caught her. They shielded her under a large hat, and she soon found herself nestled up against someone's clothes. Though she couldn't see their face, the soft heaving of a human's chest put her frantic mind at ease, assuring that there's no more harm would come to her. She was safe now. She let the rhythm of it settle her nerves, luring her into exhausted slumber. The cat awoke sometime later to the scent of pumpkins and smoky cinders. A gentle hum sounded from the humble wooden building, and she flexed a paw down against a cozy futon while waiting for her vision to clear. Through the dim candlelight, she spotted a teenage girl with long red hair sitting beside a crackling hearth. About 18 years old by human standards, if she had to guess, the girl, rather pretty, wore a black dress with neatly woven translucent red and purple frills stretching along the bottom edge. The steeplet hat atop her head indicating this was no ordinary human, though far from it. She was a witch. "Oh, you're awake," she said, setting down her book to check on her new furry friend. "You scared me back there. I'm glad you're okay." The cat responded in a mellow meow, unable to do much else. It's always like this, her ears drooping when she saw the human's eyebrow lift. Unlike other cats, she could understand human speech, but she could never figure out how to communicate that. She tried, of course, but her past attempts to write out sloppy messages in ink using her tail had garnered less than favorable results from the fearful humans who saw it. "You must be the cat the fortune teller told me about, right?" the girl continued, taking the feline by surprise. "She said when I find you, I'd find the place I need to be to make my wish come true. Oh, but before that, I guess we need to make sure it's you. Let's see, it's around here somewhere." The young witch turned away, rummaging through the clothes in her luggage. The cat, meanwhile, glanced around at the bare walls. They must have taken up residence in an inn. She recognized the style of its tidy decor, and that could only mean one thing. They made it back to town. "Here we go." The girl pulled out a loose, dark dress adorned with a hood. "If she was right, then you should have enough magical power to make this work." The cat tilted her head as if to ask what that meant, but she didn't have long to question it. The witch threw the fabric over her without so much as a second thought. A flash of light enveloped the room, and her body began feeling strange, different from even what she was used to. "It worked! You really are a proper familiar after all. I never met one so powerful before. You must be pretty special. Word, what are you?" The cat stopped short, jolting up. The room and the witch had gotten much smaller in the short time, alarmingly smaller. Actually, what's more, she's no longer sat like a cat. She sat like a human. Not just like a human. She was a human. She let out loud gawking at her new pale fingers. She craned her neck over her shoulder, but couldn't spot her tail no matter how hard she tried to move it. Her mind spun, caught up in a twister, and she tumbled backwards on the futon, her human legs rising high in the air. She stared at the awkward polished feet that dangled from the ends, rubbing her eyes to try to make sense of whether they were truly real or not. "Guess it must be kind of weird, huh? Sorry, I didn't really know how to ask you first," the witch said. "Have you ever shifted before?" "No," the other girl sputtered, finally finding the strength to sit back up. "I've always been a cat." She touched her furless throat. Even the vibrations from the bizarre words felt odd, and a part of her wonders if she ever said them right. She spent so long listening to humans, but actually speaking their language always seemed impossible. "Don't worry." The redhead's voice was sweet like a melodic tune. "I'll help you figure it out. We're in this together now, or, well, we will be once we make a pact." "A pact?" "Yep, a witch and familiar pact," she clarified. "This cloak I put on you proves it. As long as we have a pact, I can help you channel your magic to use psychs." "Psychs? Like how humans fight?" "Exactly. They say a witch and a familiar can both use psychs and sync them up for some pretty cool magic." The girl hesitated, averting her gaze. Witches were normally so particular about their familiars, yet here one was offering her the position, no strings attached. Accepting would be the best way to thank this human for saving her. Still, "Would making a pact let me go further into the forest?" Her question was unsurprisingly met with confusion. "Into the forest? Why? What's out there?" "I don't know," the shapeshifter admitted, playing with the fake cat ears on her hood in lieu of her own. "I'm just hoping to find someone out there." That made the witch pause, rather than press her own potential pact partner on her personal business, though she murmured, "I am too." She then held out her gloved hand, and the smaller figure followed it up to see the older teen watching her with soft, pained eyes. "So, let's search them together. We'll set up a home here and explore the forests between the borders when we have time. Deal?" The cat-turned girl could do little more than stare at her. A home. A chance to finally talk to humans, and a witch, perhaps one that could even help her find her brother. Compelled by this faint spark of hope, she took the outstretched hand, and blue particles of energy surrounded the two, bathing them in light. A pleasant warmth eventually settled over them both, and when it did, she truly began to feel comfortable in her new form. Maybe being human wouldn't be such a bad thing after all. Letting go, the witch rubbed her head. "I forgot to introduce myself, didn't I? I'm Shiki Misaki, a witch who specializes in enchantments. She fished out an oval mirror from her pocket so she can properly show her familiar her new look, including the black hooded dress that covered her now. Curious and clumsy, the smaller girl took the mirror, only to find a pair of blue eyes peering back at her. She had transformed into a 17-year-old girl with short blonde hair, a far cry from the strands of rich black fur she grew up with. Were you ever named by the other cats or even the people here? Yeah. She flipped the mirror over to observe the tasteful pink blossom design etched into the frame. My name's Rhyme. Rhyme, huh? Shiki repeated, standing with her hands behind her back. Cute name. Rhyme watched with her mouth hanging open as Shiki extended her hand again and said, Well, now that I know that I'm in the right place, we should find the local fortune teller soon. And I have enough saved up for an ulterior, so we're good to go. Good to go? Rhyme asked, taking the help. She definitely needed it if she wanted to win against two very wobbly ankles. Yep, we're going to start a business here, Shiki declared, her clenched fist accompanied by an eager yet determined grin. I can sell my magic to make some money while we look for the miracle worker that lives somewhere around here. Basically we need a home. We can't live in the inn forever, and since it'll be your home too, you should help me out with that. Okay. Rhyme said. The phrases she heard humans say over and over echoed in her head as she focused on her shaky feet. Slow and steady wins the race, right? Right! The older girl smiled again, keeping a friendly grip on Rhyme's hands to balance her. I'll help you every step of the way, so don't worry, we're partners now after all. Rhyme blinked, staring up at her. Partners. Not a witch and her familiar, but partners. With her own mouth curving into a smile, she nodded, curling a hand over her swaying pendant. Yeah, thanks, Shiki. Don't mention it. Shiki helped Rhyme move one pace at a time towards the exit, making sure she didn't trip or fall. Each stride felt like a stumble, one both exhilarating and scary. But Shiki being by her side somehow made the effort much easier. And as the door ahead opened, Rhyme took her first step into a brand new world.